Herkese merhabalar. Ee, University of Bath seminerimize hepiniz hoş geldiniz. Ben İmran Mehmet, BEB British Education Bureau, BEB'in operasyon müdürü olarak bugün sizlerle University of Bath yetkilimiz Patrick ile birlikte üniversitemiz hakkında bilgi aktarıyor olacağız. Üniversite yetkilimize sözü vermeden önce çok kısa BEB hakkında sizlere bilgi aktarmak isterim. Bizler British Education Bureau yani BEB olarak University of Bath'ın Türkiye'deki resmi temsilciliğini yapan kurum konumundayız. Temsil ettiğimiz üniversitenin Türkiye'deki organizasyonlarını ve tanıtım faaliyetlerini gerçekleştirmekteyiz bugün olduğu gibi. 2002 yılında Oxford'da kurulduk. Türk ve İngiliz kuruculara sahip bir yapımız bulunmakta. Ve 22 yıldır İstanbul, Ankara ve İzmir ofislerimizde öğrencilerimize danışmanlık hizmeti sağlamaya devam etmekteyiz. Bu noktada uzmanlık alanımız tamamen Birleşik Krallık ve İrlanda eğitim sistemi. Dolayısıyla üniversitenin giriş şartları, başvuru süreçleri, kabul koşulları, bununla birlikte konaklama, vize gibi tüm süreçlerinde öğrencilerimize destek olmaktayız. Tüm danışmanlık kadromuz, ekibimiz tamamen uzman bir kadro şeklinde yer almakta. Ve bu noktada Birleşik Krallık ve İrlanda eğitim sistemine vakıf bir konumda olduğumuzu söyleyebilirim. Birleşik Krallık ve İrlanda'da toplam 150 civarında üniversite bulunmakta ve bizler BEB olarak bu 150 üniversitenin 90'ının direkt resmi temsilciliğini yapmaktayız Türkiye'de. Bu doğrultuda da öğrencilerimize tamamen kapsamlı bir danışmanlık hizmeti sağlamaktayız. Bu gün itibariyle benzer etkinliklerimiz, benzer faaliyetlerimiz aynı şekilde farklı resmi temsilcisi olduğumuz üniversitelerle de devam ediyor olacak. Bu kapsamda bizleri web sayfamız, Instagram ve Facebook üzerinden takip edebilirsiniz etkinliklerimizi. E, Aynı zamanda İstanbul, Ankara, İzmir ve Lefkoşa'daki ofislerimize de bu numaralardan ulaşabilirsiniz. Merak ettiğiniz tüm soruları chat box üzerinden ya da el kaldırma butonuyla bizlerle paylaşabilirsiniz. Sunum sonunda tüm sorularınızı yanıtlıyor olacağız. Thank you so much, Patrick. It's yours now.
Thank you so much, Imran, and thank you to all of you for coming along today. My name is Patrick. I work at the University of Bath, and I'm here at the BEB office in Istanbul, and it's my first time in Istanbul as well. It's been a brilliant trip so far. I really, really like the place, yeah, been great to meet so many great Turkish students and school counsellors as well. And yeah, we're really pleased to be presenting to you all today. So what I'm going to do, should I wait a few more minutes, Imran, or am I okay to get started now?
Yeah, we can start. They
Okay.
are still attending, but we can start, I think.
That's great, thank you. So I will share my screen. I have a few slides. I'm not going to talk for too long. I think most likely I'll just talk for around 20 minutes or so. Let me just share my screen. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen now, but let me know if you can't. Okay.
It's not full screen now, Patrick.
It's sorry. Oh, it's not full frame. Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Hang on. Okay. Bear with me. Sorry to keep you all. Let's try this again. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know how to, I don't know why. Hang on. Okay, apologies to everybody for the technical error there. So yeah, I'm Patrick. I'm Deputy Head of International Recruitment based in the UK at the University of Bath. I always sort of like to begin these presentations with a quiz. Usually ask for a show of hands, but obviously as this is an online event, I won't do that. But I'll leave it to you to try and answer these questions. And the first of these is something when I joined the University of Bath, which was only around 6 months ago, I had no idea. One of the things that we're very, very proud of at Bath is the fact that we offer fantastic work placements and opportunities for our students. So the first question I always ask on these quizzes is what percentage of our undergraduate programs at Bath offer a year-long work placement option? And the answer to that question, I was amazed to see, is actually 100%. So every single one of our undergraduate students at Bath gets that opportunity to take a placement. And actually a big proportion of our postgraduate programs offer this as well. So it's something like 70 or 75% of our postgraduate programs also have the opportunity to get involved in the real world of work. And I know that this is increasingly important to students, whether they be at undergraduate or at master's level. And so we have lots of different kind of ways of approaching it. So we have consultancy projects on some of our programs. We have shorter kind of internship-based placements on some programs. And we also have something called the practice track, which is offered in our School of Management, which allows students to work with employers on a particular set of projects throughout their time at the university, and then to go on to a shorter term paid role at the end of that. So they're all really, really exciting. And 68% of our students go on a work placement or study abroad. And we have that placement support kind of embedded throughout all of our programs with really great, world renowned employers. The ones we mentioned here, Microsoft, L'Oreal, Disney, the UN, Cancer Research UK, but also, media companies, political internships. We have healthcare and biomedical type programs and internships as well. So, it's a big thing that I like to talk about a lot. If you're interested in getting that kind of real world experience alongside a great academic experience, then Bath is an excellent choice. The second of these questions, I probably need to change this question because it's a bit it's a bit of a trick question, but the University of Bath is a top 10 university overall in 2 UK league tables. It's actually false, but that's because we're a top 10 university in 3 major league tables. So the Complete University Guide, the Sunday Times and the Times and the Guardian, which are the kind of 3 main rankings that UK students look at. And we're in the top 10 in all of those. And in fact, we're in the top 5 in, I think, 2 of them. Let me just check. Oh, sorry. Yeah, top 5 in one of them, top 6 in another. And we're in the top 8 in the Sunday Times. So it's a real achievement. I know that rankings can be very important. They're not everything. Rankings aren't the only thing that you should be taking into account, but it is important to choose a well-ranked university, and we're very proud to be exactly that. And at the kind of subject level, we're ranked in the top 5 for 14 subject areas of those that feature in those key national rankings. So you can see, particularly things like sports science, things like social policy, management, business. We have excellent faculties of psychology and architecture as well. We're quite a kind of technically focused university. So we have a lot of engineering, we have a lot of technology, we have sort of STEM type programs. We don't have medicine, but we do have things like healthcare and biomedical sciences as well. So where it comes to that kind of quality piece, you know, the last time that the National Student Survey in the UK asked students about, you know, the experience that they have had at university with a specific question, we came out as first in the whole of England for our student experience. So it's not just about the research, it's also about the quality of the student life that students are having with us. And over 90% of the research that was submitted the last time the UK did a major research exercise, which was back in 2021, over 90% of our research was defined as world leading or internationally excellent. So really, really prominent research university, but we have excellent teaching as well. We're in the top 150 in the world, according to the QS World University Rankings. And I mentioned our teaching. So the Teaching Excellence Framework in the UK, we have Gold, which is the highest possible standard you can achieve in that exercise. And actually that's super important because lots of research intensive universities may not have that kind of, you know, they will all have very good teaching, but they may not have TEF Gold. We're one of a small number, I guess, of that also have this TEF Gold standard as well. So teaching really important. I've realized I need to update these slides because the Olympics, the most recent Olympics just finished, but taking the Tokyo Olympics, what position would the University of Bath have finished in if it were a country? So I guess what we're saying here is if everyone who has attended or trained at the University of Bath was, you know, competing under the same national banner, what position would we have finished in? And the answer is actually 11th. So in the 2021 Olympics, University of Bath-based students brought home 10 medals, including 9 golds, and would have put us in the top 11 countries competing at the Olympics. And the reason for that is Bath is a very sporting university. You don't have to be into sport to study at Bath. You don't have to be a great sports person. But, you know, we do have phenomenal sporting facilities. What that means is that many students who are themselves athletes will choose to study at Bath because they have access to those facilities. It means that our alumni, so here we have some of the Team GB, the UK team, Olympians and Paralympians who train at Bath at our sports training village. But also, you know, many of our alumni and many of our recent graduates, you know, continue with their sporting careers and, you know, fly the flag for the University of Bath. So we're really, really proud of that. The QS World University Rankings, we're in the top 10 in the world for sports. So, you know, anything sports related. So we have things like sports management, sports science, all these types of programs, and we're amongst the best in the world in this particular area. So where is Bath? Well, we're really well located. We're in the southwest of England. We're just under an hour and a half away from London, so not far from London at all. It's one direct train from London to Paddington. We're about 15 minutes away from the closest major city, which is Bristol. We're about sort of less than an hour from Bristol Airport, which is pretty well connected, and only 2 hours to London Heathrow, which is obviously a very well connected airport. So we think we've got a really good location, and we have an absolutely beautiful city, and I'll show you some photos later, but it really is a wonderful, wonderful place. And on that, you know, this is probably my final question. Which of the following accolades is untrue? Bath is one of the top 100 greatest places on earth, according to Time magazine. Bath is the only UNESCO World Heritage City in the UK. Bath was voted as the best place to live in the UK in 2021 by this particular financial website. Bath is the sunniest city in Western Europe. Now, those of you who have been to the UK will probably have worked out already that yeah, Bath is not the sunniest place in Western Europe. Our weather is, UK weather, if you've visited, you'll know it can be quite changeable. It can be quite unpredictable. We don't tend to have extreme weather in the UK. We don't have extremes of heat or extremes of cold very often. But it is quite changeable. For me, I wish it didn't rain quite as much as it did, I'll be honest. But actually, lots of people quite like that as well. And you have to remember that it doesn't always rain. Whatever you may have heard, it's yeah, the UK, it can be changeable weather, but it doesn't rain all the time, I promise. But all of these other statements are true. Bath, Time magazine recognized us as one of the best places in the world to live. We are the only UNESCO World Heritage City in the UK, and I think in Europe, with the possible exception of Venice. Our whole city is under the protection of UNESCO because it's considered to be a historical artifact in its own right. And Bath was indeed voted as the best place to live in 2021 by This Is Money. So, yeah, the UK's only UNESCO World Heritage City. These are the Roman baths, which are right in the heart of the city of Bath, and it's what gives the city its name. This image is called the Royal Crescent. It's a very famous Bath landmark. It's extremely well known as well. And Bath is the safest university city in England and Wales. So in 2023, Times Higher Education accredited Bath with the with that accolade. So it is a very safe place to study. It's clean and green. It's very livable, and it feels safe. You feel as though you're in a buzzing and lively city, but without perhaps some of the tension that you can get in larger cities. It's very safe and very friendly and accommodating. So just as I said, some images of Bath. The university itself is not in the city, and I'll come to some images of our campus in a moment. These are all shots of kind of the downtown area in Bath. It really is magnificent. And, our students are very kind of integrated into the life of the city. We're a campus university. We're not a civic university, so we're not kind of dotted throughout the city of Bath. We're on one kind of specific site. But, because there are so many students in Bath, the students and the city are all kind of mixed in together, and everybody socializes together. So very good independent shopping in Bath. Some of our students here enjoying there's a lot of sort of independent arcades with small and kind of niche shops as well. Our campus is, as I say, it's just outside of the city, so it depends on traffic and things like that. I would say it's about 10 minutes on a good day to get from the middle of town up to the University of Bath campus. Students get free entrance to attractions and museums across Bath, and that includes our international students. And living costs, we estimate, including university accommodation, that you budget around £1,400 per month to live in Bath. That may have been revised up slightly this year, although inflation is it's coming under control a bit more in the UK now. So maybe nudge that up a little bit more. But, and of course it varies. I know some students need a bit more to get by. Some can get by on a little less. So it's an approximate figure, but hopefully gives some indication of likely living costs. We're not likely to be the cheapest city in the UK. I think cost of living in Bath is probably a little bit higher than the average sort of UK city, but compared to London, it's a lot lower. So London is an amazing city. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I think it's fantastic, but it can be a little bit more expensive to live than pretty much all of the other UK cities. So we have more than 20,000 students at the university. 73% are undergraduates, so we're largely an undergraduate university, but actually our proportion of postgraduate students is growing quite strongly as well, and 10% research students. So it's a nice sort of mix. Normally around sort of 25 to 30% of our students are international students coming from outside of the UK. From all over the world. So, if you did study at Bath, you would be studying in a very international environment. And we're not a huge university. 20,000 is probably a medium-sized kind of university in the context of the UK. And what that means, it's a nice kind of friendly feel, and it's a very it is a nice kind of laid-back campus environment as well. So here's an aerial shot of our campus. As I said, it's about 10 minutes from the city itself by bus. You can walk it in probably half an hour or so, and you can see from the aerial view here. We're up on a hill that kind of overlooks the city. You can see some of our sports facilities here as well. I should have mentioned that all of our students have access to the sports village that we have. So those world-class professional training facilities can be used by any of our students. You need to book in advance for many of them, but there are no restrictions on what you can access as a student. So it really is a fantastic place to study if you're interested in sport. I'm going to finish up there because I don't want to talk for too long, and I've spoken for 20 minutes or so there. Hope to see you in Bath, or at least to be able to guide and advise you further. Imran mentioned BEB, so there are representatives here in Turkey. If you have any questions, I can of course answer them on this session. But the guys at BEB will always be happy to help as well. And if you do decide to apply and you do want to make an application to Bath, again, speak with BEB. They'll be really helpful and they can guide you through the process. Okay, I'm going to finish up there, but I'm really happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Patrick, for your presentation and all your information. That's really useful, actually. Sorularınızı, merak ettiğiniz tüm konuları chat box üzerinden ya da el kaldırma butonuyla paylaşabilirsiniz. Seve seve yanıtlamak isteriz tüm sorularınıza. There are already some questions. The first one, I can start with the first one. Does the University of Bath have liberal arts program with the option of major or minor?
Yeah, we don't. I can, looking at these questions, happy to answer all of these. So we don't have a liberal arts program, and we don't have this kind of majors and minors thing. Now, there will be some universities in the UK that do offer liberal arts. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but some universities do have these liberal arts programs. But for the most part, what you've touched on there actually is the difference between UK and US universities. So US universities will tend to have 4-year programs with 1 year of more general study and general classes at the beginning. We tend to be in the UK a little bit more focused. So, if, for example, you're studying a degree in biomedical science, then you are pretty much studying biomedical science for the full kind of 3 years that you're studying with us. So it means we don't kind of have majors and minors. What we do have is variety within the classes that students can take. So, you might want to, again, to take the example of biomedical science, if you have a student who is particularly interested in the biological side of that, then they could probably pick classes, optional classes that chime with those interests, and that's absolutely fine. But what we don't do is a psychology module, a music module, a architecture module. It is much more kind of focused on one specific program. I can see there's a second question within this question around do we give a BA degree? We do have some BA degrees. We're not quite so much of an arts-based university. We're a bit more technology, engineering, science type programs, but we also have things like humanities and social sciences. So some of those programs, international relations, politics, they would give out BA degrees. And entry requirements, they vary between different degree programs. Very broadly, for a student applying from Turkey, we can accept the Turkish high school diploma. We're usually looking for something in the region of 80 to 85% overall. And we have a list of the schools that we can accept those diplomas from. For the most part, it's kind of most of the well-ranked, well-known Turkish schools that we're happy to consider the high school diploma from. We may also have subject-specific requirements. So let's say engineering usually needs maths. And so we would look for kind of good scores, again, 80, 85%, something like that in, any subject prerequisite areas. And then the third question, do we accept TED, Ankara, Lycée Diploma? I'll have to check our particular list. I think we do. Let me just see. Okay, I don't have a specific answer to that one, I'm afraid. I can find out, more than happy to look into that. But as long as this, Imran might be able to help with this as well, actually. Assuming, because I'm quite new to Turkey, I don't know this particular school, but if it's a well-ranked, well-regarded school in Turkey, then I suspect we would indeed accept that diploma. And yeah, we wouldn't need IB or AP courses alongside it. And finally, there's a question on fee status there. It's difficult for me to advise on that. The usual advice I would give is if a student has indefinite leave to remain or indeed UK citizenship, generally universities look at residency. So they would look at whether you've been resident in the UK for, I think it's 2 or 3 years prior to applying. So if your daughter has been living in the UK, then she probably have a pretty good chance of having home fee status. If not, then it's less likely. But we would send you a fees questionnaire when you make the application, and that's our admissions department kind of is in charge of that policy. So I wouldn't want to give the wrong advice on that. So I can't say much more on that really.
The next one is, do you have any scholarship for international students?
We do, yeah. We have a good range of scholarships, actually. So if you just bear with me a moment, I'll set out the main ones we offer. We have different scholarships across our 3 faculties and our School of Management. So the university is kind of made up of 3 faculties and 1 school. And the faculties are in engineering and design. There's a faculty of humanities and social sciences. There's a faculty of, there's a school of management, which is where the business and management programs are studied. And we have varying scholarships across all of them. So at undergraduate level, we have slightly fewer scholarships, but we have a scholarship that's called the Chancellor's Scholarship. This is £2,000 tuition fee waiver in year 1 of the scholarship, and it's aimed at students who have demonstrated academic excellence. So, as long as you're getting you would need to get a really good grade in your Turkish high school diploma, basically the equivalent of 3 A stars at A level. Or a slightly lower but still very strong grade would get you a £1,000 fee reduction. So this is only available for international students, and it is for the kind of real top performers, but it's a good scholarship. And then we have some really generous scholarships for IB students. So if anyone's studying the IB and looking to get really high grades, then we could give you up to £8,000 as a scholarship. So for 42 points in the IB, we award £3,500. For 43 points in the IB, we award £5,000. And for 44 points in the IB, we award £8,000. And then at the master's level, let me just get you the information on that. And again, these kinds of work differently depending on the faculty. But let me just tell you. So we have what's called the Dean's Award for academic excellence. Now, this is open to students of all nationalities. It's aimed at sort of international students, but it is open to all nationalities. We have 8 scholarships of £5,000 in each of our 3 faculties. So £5,000 in the Faculty of Engineering and Design, £5,000 in Humanities and Social Sciences, and £5,000 available in our Faculty of Science. And we then have what's called a Global Leaders Scholarship, which is, again, £5,000. There are 45 of these available. And to access this scholarship, students need to, you make your application, as soon as you get your offer, you then apply, you fill out a separate form, and we consider all of those applications, and then we award £5,000 to 45 students.
Thank you so much. And the following question is, do you accept Turkish high school diploma without an AP scores?
Sorry, is this MEB diploma without any?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just check. As I say, we do have, we basically consider on a case-by-case basis the Turkish high school diploma across the piece. So looking at the ones we can accept, I'm just looking at these now. Liz Bitirme Diplomasi, Anadolu Liazi Diplomasi, Fen Lisezi Diplomasi. I don't see MEB on this list, but that doesn't mean that we don't accept it. We would usually consider on a case-by-case basis. Again, a bit like the answer I gave a bit earlier. If it's a good, well-reputed high school in Turkey, then yeah, we would accept it, and we would not need any AP classes. We would just accept the diploma in and of itself.
These are all actually equal. These are all equal to MEB diploma. So
is that right? Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
That's fine then. So the answer would be yes, we do accept that one. That's really helpful. Thank you. And yeah, we do not need any AP classes.
And the next one is, what are the admission entry requirements for undergraduate program for psychology? Does SAT score has any impact in the decision-making process?
Yeah, it's a good question. Psychology is one of our most competitive programs. We have an excellent School of Psychology. We'd be looking at, for a student studying the Turkish high school diploma, I think we'd be looking at probably something like 85% overall. I'm just going to double check that though. Just to be sure that I provide the right advice. Sorry to keep you all. Yeah, so we would be looking for GPA of 85% overall, and we would need 85% in a mathematics, science, or social subject from the final year. Plus, we would need 75% in mathematics, but that can come from any year within the high school diploma. So 85 overall, 85 in either maths, science, or social studies or social sciences type subject in final year. And we also need 75 in maths from any year at all. And
yeah, I think our student or parent would like to know the SAT requirement as well. Like, is it required?
Sure. We don't have an SAT requirement. If you've taken SATs, that's great. We will factor that into the decision on the overall application, but we don't have a specific requirement. You could probably use, let's say you didn't have the right score in maths or something, you didn't have that subject requirement. I suspect we could possibly use the SAT to tick that off if it's not within the diploma there, but it's not a prerequisite, so it doesn't really matter.
Thanks so much. And if a student is also studying towards IB diploma, can he still choose to apply with a Turkish high school diploma grades?
Yeah, I think I don't see why not. I think if a student is taking the full IB diploma, then that's probably what we would want to consider that student on. And, particularly I mentioned the IB focused scholarships earlier as well. So, it's worth applying with the IB if you are studying the IB. But if you've done both, we can or could consider either. I would say that if you have a final, you don't have to tell us everything. If one of your grades was not quite right on the IB, you should maybe focus on the one qualification, and use that as the focus of your application. But it doesn't matter to us if you've done both. You can choose which to apply with.
Thank you. What are the entry requirements for engineering course? Is the Turkish high school enough? Do you ask for AT for BA or engineering?
Yeah, so I'll start with the third of those, which is the AP one. We don't. If you've got 3 APs, that's great. We can consider you on that basis, but it's not by any means essential. Is the Turkish Lees diploma enough? Yeah, as long as it's from a good school, as we discussed earlier. And what are the application requirements? It would be broadly similar to psychology. It's going to be around that 85% in the Turkish high school diploma. Let me just clarify for engineering, because we will have a maths requirement for engineering as well. Bear with me. So I've just picked, say, mechanical engineering as one example. So our BEng program in mechanical engineering. We would look for, Turkish high school diploma. With a GPA of 85%, and we would also need 85% in physics and either calculus or mathematics in the final year. So we need 85% overall, 85% in physics, and 85% in one of calculus or maths.
Thank you very much. Next one is, do you have bachelor's degree in fine arts?
We don't, unfortunately, no. We have sort of humanities and social science type programs. We don't have fine arts, I'm afraid.
Thanks so much. When you say 85 in maths for engineering, is it for the last year or for all 4 years of
It's
high
for the
school?
last year. Yeah, apologies. I should have made that more clear. It's in the final year.
Okay, thank you. And what are the IELTS requirements?
Okay, so many of our programs have IELTS requirements of 6.5 overall. We have some that have slightly higher requirements that might need a 7 or even a 7.5. That's the more kind of that's the more language-based programs in general. So I'm just, because I'm on the engineering page at the moment, I'll take a look at this. So our IELTS requirement in engineering is 6.5 overall, with no less than 6 in all 4 component parts of IELTS.
Thank you. Is the business management program have the same entry requirements with psychology degree
No,
that
they'll
you
be
have taught?
slightly different. I can tell you them now. Management program. Most of our entry requirements will be kind of broadly the same, but there will be slight subtle differences between various ones. So on business and management, let me see. We have, okay, I'll take, for example, our international management program. So for international management, we would consider the Turkish high school diploma, CGPA of 80% overall, so slightly lower than the psychology and engineering requirements. We would need 85 in any mathematics, science, or social subject from the final year. And we would also need 70% in mathematics scored in any of the years of the high school diploma. So 80% overall, 85% in one of maths, science, or social studies, or something similar in the final year, and then 70% in maths from any year of the diploma.
Thank you. Next one is, what are the IB requirements for social sciences?
Social sciences. Let me take a look. Social sciences. Okay, sorry to keep you. Entry requirements. So for IB students, our usual offer would be 35 points overall and 655 across any 3 higher level subjects. So we don't have subject prerequisites, but we would need 655 in 3 higher level subjects and an overall point score of 35 points.
Thank you. What's the GPA requirement for business administration? Also, do you look at the last year or all 4 years?
Yeah, that would be the same as the business management ones that I mentioned earlier. So I think that was, what was that, 80% overall, with 85 in one of like maths or social studies or science, and then 75 in the final year, and then 75% in math, 70% in maths in any of the years.
Thank you very much. Is there a law school, and if there is, if it's required the LNAT exams, and what are the other entry requirements?
Sure. We don't have a law school, unfortunately, and we don't have a law program, so we have no LNAT requirements.
Thank you. If the students complete the IB program, do they still have to take the IELTS exam?
No. If you have the IB, we would not usually ask you for IELTS. All of our students, including our UK students, need to demonstrate their English language competence, but you can do that through the IB qualification itself.
Thank you. Are there any specific scholarship opportunities for postgraduate architecture program, and what are the requirements for this program?
Sure. We don't have specific requirements for, we don't have specific scholarships for architecture. We do have scholarships for architecture. It falls under the banner of the Dean's Excellence Awards that I mentioned earlier. So there's the £3,000 and the £5,000 scholarships that you can apply for, but they're not kind of architecture specific.
Mhm. Thank you. Do you have a foundation program for the undergraduate students, and how do you decide whether the students needs this one?
Until this year, there was a foundation program based in Bath that provided that pathway on into the university degree. We're not running that next year, but we do accept a wide range of foundation programs, that provided by external providers. So, if you are interested in applying to Bath and you're taking a foundation program somewhere else in the UK, you can drop us an email, let us know, and we can update on acceptability of that program. We're pretty flexible on that. How do you decide whether a student needs one? Well, usually, if a student is coming from a country with a 12-year education system, then very often we do need a foundation program. Now, that's not the case with Turkey, because, as you know, we can accept the high school diploma in many cases. But if, for example, the student, let's say the student did the diploma, but in a school that we're not able to make an offer for example, we would probably recommend that student take a foundation year. Or if they've done like AS levels, and taken effectively half an AS at half an A level, or not quite completed a particular program, it's not really intended for students who have perhaps tried to take a qualification like A levels or the Turkish high school diploma and then not got good enough grades. We don't tend to offer the foundation as that kind of bridge, but actually I know a lot of students will do that. If they don't get quite the grades they want, they will look to enroll on a foundation program. So we don't rule that out either, but we would just look closely at any student's academic background in those cases.
Mhm. Thanks so much. And what are the entry requirements for architecture? And can you also give information about the portfolio requirements?
Yeah, sure. I'll get you the entry requirements now. With the portfolio, we don't actually require one, which I was quite interested to learn when I first joined Bath. So yeah, pleased to say we don't have a portfolio requirement for our undergraduate application program, and it really is a great program. It's one of our strongest academic areas, really. So let me just find the entry requirements.
I think it should be the postgraduate one, like postgraduate architecture.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't quite get that. My apologies. Okay. Let me find. Okay, so to take an example, I've just pulled out we have an MSc program in conservation of historic buildings, and our entry requirements for that would be Lisans Diplomacy bachelor degree or Mühendis Diplomacy with a final overall score of at least 2.5 to 2.79 on a 4-point scale. So yeah, GPA about anything between 2.5 to 2.79 in a full bachelor's degree, and we would need that degree to be either in architecture or in any kind of discipline relating to the built environment. So, could be engineering, surveying, planning, geography, something like that. And then depending on the program, we may consider some other undergraduate degrees, like this conservation of buildings program might consider history of art, for example. But then for a more kind of engineering architecture type program, we would probably look more at maths and science type degrees.
Thank you. If we don't have IB, do we need IELTS, and what are the minimum score requirements?
It depends what you do have. So, like if you had A levels or something, then you would not need IELTS. However, if you don't have IB, if you've done, say, the Turkish high school diploma, we would need an IELTS. Most of our programs look for either a 6.5 or a 7 overall in IELTS.
Thank you. So the next one is, what is the tuition fee for business administration and engineering courses?
Okay, I will just get that for you. Okay, so for our business management program, the international tuition fee is just over £25,000 for each year of study. So it's £25,700, and that's for this coming academic year. So we'll have the information for next year. Will be up on our website in the coming weeks. But I would advise it's around that sort of £26,000 points. There is also the option of the placement year. If you did want to do that, now you pay a lower tuition fee during that placement year. But in many cases, that placement is paid, so you get some income from doing the placement as well. But for each of the academic years, it's just over £25,000 for that program. For engineering, it'll be a little bit higher, and the reason for that is obviously engineering is a bit more resource intensive. So let me just find the fee for one of our engineering programs. So let's say electrical engineering, for example. Fees and funding. Yeah, it's, as I say, a little bit more. So for engineering, it's £28,800 per year.
Thank you. The next one is for the PhD courses. Like, I am married and 53 years old. I want to do a PhD. Do you have master's and doctoral programs with thesis on occupational health and safety in the field of agricultural engineering, agricultural machinery, and technologies engineering? Does it matter whether it's thesis or non-thesis? Do you give scholarships?
Okay, so with regard to your thesis within a PhD, it's very much for you to shape, really. So what I tend to advise is, we don't usually kind of produce pre-packaged thesis titles for PhD students. So what I tend to advise is reach out, contact the academic staff in particular, perhaps ask them a little bit more about their research interests and whether they would be interested in supervising your research in a particular area. Occupational health and safety in agricultural engineering. I don't think we have that particular area of expertise, but I may be wrong. So a good thing to do is to take a look at the Faculty of Engineering and Design website, have a look at the academic staff who are active in the research area, and write to them and see, if they have an interest in supervising somebody to undertake a PhD in that area. Do we give scholarships? We don't at that PhD level, unfortunately. There are opportunities potentially to apply to the research councils in the UK for research funding, but in general, those bodies they're like government bodies, and they tend to only be able to fund researchers from the UK itself. And then the question there, does it matter whether it is thesis or non-thesis? For most PhD study, you would be working on, an extended piece of written work. So, yeah, there may be some exceptions for really technical type programs, but I would, if you're looking at PhD study, it would be on the expectation of producing a thesis or a detailed piece of written work.
Thanks so much. The next one is, what are the entry requirements for undergraduate architecture program?
Oh yeah, I think we touched on these a moment ago, didn't we? So it was 85% overall, with 85% in one of maths, social sciences, or science in the final year, and it was 75% in maths in any year of study, and no portfolio requirement.
Mm-hmm. Could you give some information about the accommodation opportunities for the first year students?
Yeah, so we guarantee accommodation for all of our international students in the first year of study. We have really good accommodation that's on our campus. Most of our first year students will and do live on campus, although there's accommodation available in the city of Bath as well. We also have we also have lots of students who will move into private accommodation in their second year of study, and our Students' Union has an accommodation hub that can provide that support and advice on those things as well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. What's the fee for the biomedical sciences course?
It's going to be similar to the engineering fee that I mentioned earlier. So I think it's in that sort of £28,000 to £29,000 per year region.
Okay, thank you. If we have further questions, can we send an email to you? If so, can you please share your email address?
Sure. Yeah, I will share the email address of our international recruitment team. That's the team that I work in. And yeah, we'll be happy to help and to provide any further information. I'll make sure I drop that into the chat at the end of the session today.
Mm-hmm. And the last one is, can we apply for the University of Bath without UCAS?
If you're applying for an undergraduate program, we would need you to apply through UCAS. And I know some universities will allow direct applications for undergraduate. You probably find most of the better ranked universities usually do require you to apply through UCAS. But obviously that only applies to undergraduate applications. For postgraduate applications, you apply directly to us through our website.
Mm-hmm. Thanks so much once again, Patrick. I think we covered all the questions, and it was really useful. Thanks so much for your time and all the information. Hope to see you soon again in Turkey.
Yeah, no problem at all. It's been really, really great to speak to you and to meet you all, and thank you all for the really informative questions as well. It's been great to see so many positive questions coming in. Let me just get that email address, and I'll drop that into the chat box as well, just so that you have this. So for undergraduate inquiries, you can contact our undergraduate admissions team. And then for, oh, sorry, send to meeting group chat. And then for postgraduate inquiries, you can contact our postgraduate admissions team. So that's pgtadmissions@bath.ac.uk.
Yeah. So thanks so much once again, Patrick, for your time and the presentation information. It was really great, and I hope to see you soon again in Turkey.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, Imran. And yes, I can't wait to come back to Turkey. I love it. So hopefully I will be here again before too long.
Thank you.
Thank you all
Have a
so
nice day.
much.
Have a nice
Thank you.
day.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Bye-bye.